morning. I'm Mary Ventresca, Vice President of Marketing and Business Development at PATTISON Outdoor Advertising.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Susanna Liu. I'm the Director of Research and Data Analytics at PATTISON Outdoor Advertising.
Welcome to our session, fueled by timely data and insights, finding opportunities in challenging times. PATTISON Outdoor Advertising is Canada's leading out-of-home media company, operating in over 200 markets coast to coast. Our business spans the key pillars of the out-of-home industry, from classic outdoor, which many of you would know as billboards and bus shelters, to transit advertising, such as the ads on the outside of buses and inside subway stations, to indoor and outdoor digital displays, as well as place-based contextual environments, such as airports and Toronto's Path. Here's a short video that tells a bit more about who we are and what we do. Because of the breadth and depth of our out-of-home media offering, we at PATTISON Outdoor position ourselves as partners to our clients as we strive to help them harness the power of out-of-home advertising. And the power of out-of-home advertising has been consistent for decades, primarily because of the fact that out-of-home media is always on, meaning it's there in the public space 24/7. And this is why out-of-home media has also been such a successful advertising channel, even in the era of the internet, mobile, and social media, many of which are actually out-of-home advertisers themselves. It's consistently present. It has hundreds of creative formats across hundreds of thousands of displays, and out-of-home can't be turned off, skipped, or closed down. And equally compelling to advertisers is the fact that out-of-home media exists outside of our homes, where data shows that 70% of the public spends their day. From morning to night, out-of-home reaches the public, and to brands and businesses, we reach key consumer segments as they head to work, to school, to their social and leisure activities. So in marketing language, out-of-home offers advertisers continuous touch points along their path to purchase journeys. That is until March 2020, when the unimaginable happened, and we went into a global lockdown. The immediate impact of stay-at-home orders because of COVID-19 for our business was that it was quite likely that that 70% figure was flipped on its head, and only a small portion of the public was now outside of their homes. And as a result of this seismic event, advertisers either canceled or shifted flights, and those on the cusp of booking their regular springtime campaign pulled back and took a hold and wait position. Now, there was still some out-of-home advertising occurring during the full lockdown, especially public health messaging. But we understood full well that the inherent appeal of out of home had been dealt a temporary, albeit serious blow until the time when we would emerge from those stay-at-home orders. And in actuality, the total lockdown was short-lived because by May 2020, most of the country began moving to reopening stages and people started to go outside of their homes again. But we, along with the out-of-home industry, I'm sure breathed a sigh of relief. And as it turned out, the damage of the relatively short lockdown to out-of-home would prove to be longer lived, as the misperception of empty highways and tumbleweeds blowing along downtown streets became more and more baked in with advertisers. And so it became immediately clear that our immediate challenge was to find data that proved to advertisers that people were venturing outside of their homes. And by extension, out-of-home audiences were gradually returning. In other words, we needed data on population movement. We were fortunate to have 3 credible data sources to help craft the narrative at this time. The first was our own proprietary data from Pelmrex, also the Weather Network app, which provides counts on the mobile devices passing by our outdoor displays. We also reviewed the publicly available mobile data that Apple and Google had made available. But unfortunately, these data sources, while valid, only spoke to portions of our business. They didn't speak to overall population movement in the way that we required. What we required was a data source that served as a proxy for people going about their lives once they left their homes, and therefore had plenty of opportunity to see all forms of out-of-home advertising, especially moving advertising on buses and streetcars. This is where Environix's Out and About Mobilescapes data came into play. What Mobilescapes was ready to answer right off the bat that these other data sources couldn't were the critical questions of, were people in fact outside of their homes? And if so, for how long were they outside of their homes? And how far were they traveling? What has changed since the pandemic began? And could this data be cut down to the market, FSA, and even neighborhood and other granular levels? Mobilescapes was the answer to this. And now I'll turn it over to Susanna.
Thank you, Mary. As Mary mentioned, the stay-at-home order was relatively short. The government rolled out the business reopening plans in May last year, just 2 months after the March lockdown. However, a misperception still exists in our clients' mind. Canadians leave their homes less frequently during the pandemic. There is less audience exposure to out-of-home advertising. In reality, more Canadians were out and about as the restriction lifted. People continue to live and work under the new normal. Traffic jam is back. We are no longer in lockdown. Furthermore, the news media headline could not drive the business narratives. We had to show the data and reality. It is a myth that we have been battling with since COVID-19. Mobilescapes Out and About help us to solve this myth. Mobilescapes Out and About was launched in August 2020. It is an anonymized permission-based data collected from location-enabled apps on mobile devices. This robust database captures approximately 100,000 mobile apps. The population counts captured from those apps are extrapolated back to the Canadian population age 15 plus. How does it measure? The data measures the population movement of Canadians travel beyond 500 meters from their homes. It tells us the number of people who leave from home, how far they travel, and how long they spend outdoors. More specifically, it can also tell us the moving pattern during the time of the day and at different geographical level from province to neighborhood. The data is updated weekly and it goes back to January 2019. So how do we use the data? The new normal behaviors established through COVID-19 influence the population movement. Therefore, we compare the current movement trends to the same period in 2019, that is the pre-pandemic year, as a baseline to prove that Canadians are outside their home and exposed to out-of-home advertising at a far greater rate than currently perceived. We share the Out and About report with our agency clients on a monthly basis. The monthly report includes the population movement insights for total Canada and 11 major markets. Here are some of the insights we are going to share. On this slide, we are looking at the 2021 movement in percentage change compared to 2019 baseline. For total Canada, including Toronto and Montreal, where they were most impacted by COVID-19. The green line represents the baselines of the pre-pandemic level, 2019. As you can see, the population movement has been increasing month over month from January to September. As of September, Canada and Montreal have returned to 100% of the pre-pandemic level. Toronto shows a steady growth and approaches to the 2019 baseline. We are seeing the out-of-home advertising audiences have been gradually returning. So, how long do Canadians spend outside from home compared to 2019? The graph on the left shows time spent in weekdays, and on the right shows the weekends. Overall, Canadians spend their time outside their home has been increasing month over month. They tend to leave their home more in the weekends than weekdays, especially during the summer. We are also seeing from July to September, the movement even surpassed the 100% baseline. And now we're looking at when the Canadians leave their home. Each day part has a gradual growth in each month. We see greater point changes between June and July in most day parts, especially between 6 p.m. and midnight. People tend to leave their home more often to enjoy outdoor activities in the summer. If you recall the graph we saw previously, people stay longer hours outdoor starting in July, and the time spent has returned to 2019 baseline. Return to school and work in September also boosted the population movement during 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. This data shows us that Canadians are out and about at any time of the day on a daily basis. We can also dissect the data in a more granular way to look at the population movement for a specific group. The example here shows the population movement by age group. As the summer entering into June, a greater jump in movement was observed from May to June across all age groups. By September, the movement of all age groups has returned to the 2019 baseline. For the graph at your far right, you will notice that age 50 plus shows a higher percentage change than the younger age groups in 2021. The reason was possibly due to the fact that age 50 plus received the vaccination shots earlier in the year and able to venturing outside their home much sooner than the younger age groups throughout the year. When analyzing the population movement by household income, the lower income group that is under 100,000 shows a higher percentage change in movement than an income group that is over 100,000 to some degree. It is possibly due to people in this lower income group are essential workers or blue collars. They do not have a luxury to allow working from home. They still have to leave their home and commute to work. Here, we are looking at the Toronto population movement heat maps. 2020 on the left and 2021 on the right. Darker the purple means more people out and about. Lighter the purple means fewer people out and about. Let's look at the heat maps on the left. During the Stage 3 reopening plan in 2020, more dark purple areas gradually appear month over month from July to September. Torontonians were slowly adjusted to the reopening plan and started to leave their home. As for the map on the right for 2021, even more dark purple areas are seen. It indicates that the lifted restrictions and the vaccination rollout plan encourage far more Torontonians leave their home. We expect to see more people out and about in late October as the province further lifted the capacity restrictions. At the neighborhood level, we see more activities or movement in the financial districts and its neighborhoods in the current year. It indicates that the key markets and cities are not defined by their financial districts. They are communities where people live and move around on a daily basis. As for the heat map in Montreal, we see a significant contrast between 2 years. A lot more population movement returned to 2021 under the green zone than in 2022 under the orange zone. The out and about data help us to validate this reality. People leave their home and enjoy the outdoor. These are very encouraging maps to look at because Toronto and Montreal are the markets that most impacted by COVID-19. Great to see both markets turn from light purple to dark purple. That means more people are now and about. I'll turn it over to Mary.
Great. Thank you, Susanna. The Mobilescapes data, as you can see, has been immensely helpful in rebuilding advertiser confidence in out-of-home advertising by reinforcing that the public is indeed out and about, spending more time outside their homes and traveling further, especially as restrictions are removed and indoor capacities for places like restaurants, entertainment venues, shopping centers, and live events increase back to normal levels. It also helped us carve out the downtown cores of our major cities to demonstrate that while people worked from home, there was still and is still a substantial population that live, work, and play in the downtown cores. The result to our business is that advertisers have returned to out-of-home advertising. Some are brand new to the medium and want to leverage these surging audiences, and others are returning advertisers who see that the out and about broad and granular level data we presented align with their own observations. And it's worth noting that the pandemic has been a fluid situation with a lot of start and stops. And so should there be any new developments, we have enough historical data with out and about to project what would likely happen with population movement if, for example, there should be a new restriction such as a curfew implemented somewhere. What we have found, and therefore we feel we can project, is that essentially people adjusted slightly, but continue to be out of their homes as much as possible. And now I'll turn it back to Susanna for our second case study.
Thank you, Mary. For some companies, they might see the pandemic as a threat to their businesses. However, the leasing team at Pattison Outdoor sees it as an opportunity to expand the out-of-home advertising footprint and continues to maintain to be the largest out-of-home advertising company in Canada. The research team has leveraged Mobilescape Ambitions for historical perspective on new outdoor advertising locations to understand the audience type, home origin, category buying power, and more to help the leasing team to evaluate new business opportunities. Mobilescape Ambitions is an anonymized permission-based data collected from location-enabled apps on mobile devices. It measures who is visiting or passing by geofence locations and identify visitors' demographics, behaviors, and prism segments. The historical data goes back to January 2019, and it is weighted to Canadian population age 15 plus. Our leasing team uses this data to understand the audience profile of a potential new out-of-home locations and makes intelligence in decisions. Once our leasing team tell us the longitude and latitude of the potential location, they are interested in building a new poster structure. We use Ambition platform to draw a polygon based on our out-of-home advertisement visibility standard to capture the number of mobile devices passing by this geofence location. Different data sets are also being put in the backend to generate the characteristics of this audience. The data set in Mobilescapes includes the postal codes. We can utilize this information and create heat maps to show the home origins of this audience. The dark red color means a high penetration of people live in this area passing by this potential new location. This example shows the 17% of people live in Montreal passing by this new digital Superboard. Depending on the data sets you currently subscribe with Ambition Suite, beside the number of devices and home origin, Ambition can also tell us more in-depth definitions or information about this audience, such as demographics, behaviors, expenditure power, financial circumstances, travel patterns, out-of-home advertising, engagement, and PRISM segments. From there, our leasing team uses this information as one of the criteria to support the proposal for the city or relevant stakeholders. To evaluate the potential value against the investment capital and to estimate the future revenue, the leasing terms, the contract's conditions, and more. Mobilescape Ambitions allow us to make intelligent decisions. I'll turn it back to Mary.
Great. Thank you, Susanna. So some key takeaways that Out and About helped us demonstrate to our clients is that out-of-home advertising continues to be an efficient medium to reach mass audiences, even during the pandemic and its fluid situations. Canadians are still on the move. There is a pent-up demand to return to the experiences and places outside of our homes. And key markets and cities are not defined by their financial districts. They are communities in and of themselves where people live and move about daily.
We are able to break the myth. The Out and About data demonstrate the population movements in Canada has returned to the pre-pandemic level. Canadians are out and about, driving, walking, or cycling. They have an opportunity to expose to exterior transit advertising as well as any form of outdoor advertising. Here are the 2 short videos for our closing. Hope you enjoyed the presentation and look forward to answering your questions in the Q&A sessions and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.